Alrighty, my friends, welcome back to Salt City Counseling. Once again, my name's Scott. I'm a licensed therapist here in the beautiful state of Utah, and today, we're going to talk a little bit about ruminating thoughts and mental discipline. I know that a lot of people are struggling to deal with or manage their ruminating thoughts. Have you ever noticed that you'll just kind of think about the same thing over and over and over and over again? It's like a feedback loop. Like, if you ever stick a microphone up to a speaker and the sound reverberates rapidly through the microphone and speaker, it just becomes this deafening noise, right? This deafening screeching noise. And our thoughts kind of do a similar thing where they get into a feedback loop. So sometimes people will tell me that they are experiencing sort of like not these ruminating thoughts, but the result is they feel they're experiencing some anger from it. They feel a lot more angry. They feel a lot more hopeless. It causes depression. It causes anxiety, and it causes a lot of things. And so ruminating thoughts can be a big problem. And on that note, overthinking is a big problem. A lot of people don't necessarily realize or take into account that their problem, in fact, is overthinking. That the problem that they have, or the thing that is causing them a lot of trouble, is overthinking. In fact, there's a fair amount of people I've found that fall into the idea that overthinking is actually good, that they're actually doing something good, that this might be some sort of exercise in self-examination or building insight or really in practicing their own awareness. And if you're just running the same things over and over and over again, then you're not, especially if it's causing anxiety and fear to ramp up. Fear, by the way, is to me the least intelligent of all emotions. The more afraid you are, the less smart you're going to be in that moment. The more that you foster fear, harbor fear, play into fear, the less intelligent you're going to be. In fact, a lot of people, myself included, make the argument that the more afraid you are, the easier you are to manipulate. It's just, quite frankly, when the more afraid we are, the dumber we are. And again, it's sort of a transient thing. Right? It comes and goes. And the more afraid we are, really, the less intelligent we become, the less we really ask the hard-hitting questions and ask the questions that need to be asked and look at things in a rational way. Fear is entirely irrational. I also encounter a lot of people that seem to think that when they're afraid, they're rational. And I completely and absolutely 100% disagree and challenge this idea that when you're afraid, you are not rational. You're not thinking clearly. It's pure emotion, right? It's pure emotion, especially if it's putting you into a place of panic or paranoia, right? Or a phobia, all the P words that have to do with fear. And so ruminating thoughts can be the source of a lot of issues, right? Anxiety, social anxiety. And social anxiety easily leads to depression because you start trimming away parts of your life in order to deal with or avoid situations that cause you to be anxious, and then your life just kind of shuts down. You begin to limit yourself. You limit your experiences, your relationships, the things that you do for fun, because you're avoiding the things that may cause some anxiety. Okay. With all of that being said, again, the more that you think about it, the more that you run it over and over and over again in your head, the more those ruminating thoughts are kind of be a curse. Okay, so I have a few tips and tricks for this. Make sure you watch to the end because I'm gonna give you some ideas on how to deal with this, how to manage this, how to head it off, how to cope with it, and how to change your mind, because you absolutely can. You can and actually very much should change your mind. You can change how your mind functions. You can change how your mind works through things, deal with certain things, and all of the above. In fact, I believe that our purpose, if we have a purpose, is in fact to grow in this way, to learn to manage our thoughts and grow and change our minds. Okay, so again, watch till the end. I'm going to give you some methods and some tactics and some tools to manage your ruminating thoughts. Okay, but before that happens, the reason why I see this I believe that we see this as though it's a mental plague. Why we have this mental plague. People are exhausted. I think I saw a statistic about like chronic fatigue syndrome, and I just hear people say that they're tired. People in their 20s, young people, that just say that they're exhausted and that they're really, really super tired. And really, it's like when you're constantly thinking and you're experiencing the emotions from that overthinking, it's going to break you down. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be really hard if you're unable to take a break from all of that. And it's just a 24/7 type of thing, right? And I mean, it would make sense, right? Why people would overly use things like cannabis and alcohol so that they can kind of get a break from this craziness, okay? And really, I think a big problem, a big culprit are our phones, or our devices, or our smartphones. Like, when you think about it, if you let it, these things will do. They do a lot of things that are harmful. One of those things is that they do all of your thinking for you. Okay, they tell you when to go to bed, when to wake up, when to drink water, when to get up and physically move, where you parked, when to poop, when your music's too loud. They spoon feed you your opinions. They spoon feed you ideas, emotions. They tell you how to think. They tell you how to feel. Basically, they kind of do all of your thinking for you. We are not required, like our lifestyle, our way of living does not require us to be mentally disciplined. Because these things are doing all of our thinking for us. And I really believe that is having absolutely catastrophic results on our mental health and just how our minds are becoming wired. It's just absolutely catastrophic. And and to me, one of those solutions is learning to discipline our minds. And when I talk to some people about this, they just say, well, I can't discipline my mind, that it's too crazy. It's too ADHD. And I'm like, no, your mind's too crazy and it's too ADHD because you don't practice any type of discipline. And mental discipline is again, one of those things that you practice. You don't think about it in the terms of a quick fix. Like one day I was overthinking and then the next day that I wasn't. Unfortunately, right? We're too instant gratification oriented. This is part of the discipline problem. Not enough of us have learned to have a long-term cultivation of positive things, and learn how to generate and cultivate and put the effort into a long-term reward on something. And it's with catastrophic results. We're at a major, major breaking point here. We are breaking down in a colossal fashion. I mean, it's biblical proportions. And so learning mental discipline is one of those things, okay? Now, here's one of those quick exercises. This is something that I did for myself years ago that really worked to help break up the ruminating thoughts. And again, it requires diligence. You have to practice it. So first of all, the first step is recognizing when it's happening. Okay, to me, that is the hardest and most important and most difficult step, is to recognize, first of all, when that rumination is in fact happening. Okay, so when you do that, when you recognize, okay, I'm just running through the same things over and over and over in my mind. So this particular skill, I call changing the station, which just basically means that like a TV or a radio, you're just putting your mind onto something else. You're just changing the station. So I've picked generally like 2 or 3 topics, things that I really enjoy thinking about that are pretty harmless and innocuous, that keep me from ruminating the same nonsense of my life over and over again, and that I can just deliberately put my mind onto, and they're easy. It's just easy thought fodder. I guess that's the way to put it. So for me specifically, like, I've always enjoyed NBA basketball. I've always loved basketball. Basketball has always been one of my things. And believe me, I can think about basketball and the NBA for as long as I need to. It can occupy my mind for as long as it needs to. I grew up as a kid watching Michael Jordan, was a Jazz fan, And I watched Michael Jordan clean the Jazz up. And see, here you go. We're off to the races, right? Don't get me started. And so this is an easy topic for me to put my mind onto. That it's a fun topic. It's a harmless topic. It doesn't really get my emotions going. It's not something that I ruminate on. Okay, so this is called changing the station. So again, for you, pick your topics. So for me, other topics would include music. Really just enjoying music and different types of music over the years. By the way, you young'uns, it's unfortunate that you have all the music that you want at your fingertips, because you are missing out on the thrill of the hunt when it comes to like finding rare CDs or like bootlegs, live albums, limited editions and that type of stuff at your local music store. Those were, man, that was a lot of fun when I was young. It was like a treasure hunt. So music is the topic. Books for me. Books is another one. I love books. I've read so many books in all types of categories and genres. I love books. So those are just some examples of stuff that you can just put your mind onto. Okay, you recognize that you're ruminating, and so you change the station. Do it over and over and over and over again until it becomes second nature. Take a solid month to get decent at it. But again, the hardest part is recognizing when you're ruminating on something and interrupting that process by just putting your mind onto something else. Okay. Another skill, frankly, learning to discipline your mind to me is a long-term game. It is going to serve you for the rest of your life if you learn to discipline your mind. And it's really important. Personal discipline is going to serve you in so many ways. It's going to serve you in your relationships. It's going to serve your health. It's going to serve your mental health. It's going to help you improve your life options and all that. Mental discipline. And so meditation to me is money. Meditation has helped me discipline my mind. Again, people are like, well, I can't meditate because my mind's too busy. No, your mind's too busy because you don't meditate or you don't practice any type of mindfulness or meditation. And that's the truth. Now, with meditation, people think that it's something that you just sit down and do, and there you go, bada bing, bada boom, and it's fixed, and everything's better now. And you have to get that out of your head. Meditation is something that you practice. Like if you learn to play the piano tomorrow, if you sat down to learn to play the piano tomorrow, you wouldn't be busting out Mozart like overnight, right? It would take a long time to really learn how to do that, years even, and that's how it's supposed to go. This is the process again of putting effort into something and cultivating a skill. Okay, and meditation is the same way. I started meditating very seriously about 3 years ago at the beginning of COVID, and I've been meditating religiously ever since, and it has served me extremely well. It has really helped me manage my anxiety, let go of fear, choose my priorities, get very insightful and a lot more realistic about myself and my life and things like that. It's been immensely rewarding, and I've had so many benefits from it. And again, it's just helped me achieve that mental discipline. Okay. Now, I know that a lot of people just think, well, I can't do that. Yeah, you can, and you should. And the process of making progress is so rewarding. People are way too focused on the completion or the arrival, when really it's like the journey is where the real reward is. Think of it this way too, right? Like you don't think of getting in shape as something that you do for a couple of days and then you've arrived and then you're done. And something that you do for a long time, and then when you achieve your goals, you have to maintain. You have to continue to work out, and you have to continue to eat well and do all that stuff every day to maintain it. And that's how life goes. If you want health, if you want happiness, if you want wellness, and if you want healing, you have to think of it that way, that this is a lifestyle. This is just something that you put effort into every single day. Yes, it's challenging, but we're supposed to do hard things. We're supposed to do challenging things. Part of the point of this video and my TED Talk here today is that technology is rendering us impotent and useless. So of course we're depressed, right? So go be useful. Stop being impotent. Stop allowing technology to render you impotent. And become useful because you choose to be useful, because you want to be useful, because you're tired of feeling useless, right? And this is sort of where we're at these days. We are just sort of in a place where we feel useless, because technology can really have that effect on us. Okay, so try to change your mindset. Right? How can I engage in a process where I just feel like my life is worth it? Right? And that's really what we're talking about here, okay? But to me, it really starts with mental discipline. So there are lots of ways to create this and do this and engage in some of these practices, okay? And so leave your comments below. Feel free to ask questions. I love questions. Excuse me. I love it when people ask questions. It's super useful and helpful. So thank you for watching. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff. I know on my videos I'm always saying, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that. It's really hard for me to finish projects, truthfully. But I'm wanting to create a course on healing narcissistic trauma. It's going to be very in depth, so hopefully stay tuned for that. Okay, so hang in there if you're struggling. I believe in you. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.